Live for episode 135 of the Wise Guys podcast. I am your host, Brandon Capozziello, and here with me back again is Adrian Pineres. Brandon didn't get it wrong that time, so
No, perfect.
it off. I was about to say something more vulgar, but I decided we're early in the show. Let's take it up. Let's take it a step at a time. But everybody, UFC 294 was this past Saturday afternoon in America, evening, and it was a afternoon. Right, Adrian, before the show, me and him were talking about it. He was like, it was a crazy night. Well, in Abu Dhabi, in America, it was during the afternoon, but it was crazy. We rounded it off. The whole night ended with a head kick from out of nowhere. Adrian might get into it. One of his boys possibly predicted this possible head kick. I know after the fact, a lot of people did come out and say, this is something you were watching. And I remember it being a big thing in the first fight. And then I completely forgot about it. It fell on deaf ears this time around. And Volk has struggled with that certain type of head kick before, but a lot happened on that afternoon. We're going to get into it. A lot of fouls, a lot of things going on in Abu Dhabi, which you would think like these guys got money out the yin yang, like their money ain't a problem to the Abu Dhabi guys. And we got the horns don't work, the fouls, the refs are into, the doctors aren't experienced. Everybody's
the doctors, yeah. They've been there before, so you'd think they'd have a little bit of experience, but it's all right.
These guys are the guys that built an
that island over there
in less than like 2 months. This is crazy. What's going on in Abu Dhabi? Get your shit together. You tell me you can't get a horn? Tell me you can't get a horn? We're going to dive into what is next after the big event, UFC 294, because if you know, me, Adrian know, and the MMA community knows, combat sports world knows, we move week to week. This shit is in, out, in, out, in, out, and we are on to the next thing. No MMA this weekend, but we're going to get into the big boxing match in the afternoon as well. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. We're going to get into it, another crossover fight going on, and we're going to dive into a couple other things. But before we get into anything, Adrian, how are you doing this fine Monday evening, October 23rd, 2023?
Oh man, it's a lot to take in. After the action we had on Saturday, and a lot of things to digest, a lot of things to look at. Very excited to see, like you said, sport moves really fast. Like, we thought we were gonna have a Charles rematch, and then next thing you know, we're having the greatest fight that Islam's ever fought and Volk's fought in their careers happening again. And honestly, it was just crazy. And then Kamaru is now, I guess, no longer a welterweight. Maybe he's staying at middleweight. Who knows what's going on? Who knew? I mean, last time we saw a Khamzat fight was what? Gilbert, like 2021, 2022. And then next thing you know, he wins a fight against Kamaru, and talking about a title shot. Who knew? We all just wanted to see him fight. Now he's about to fight for a title shot.
He might be fighting
for We're moving.
He might be fighting for a championship next. And yeah, and a lot of things are happening in the sports world. Adrian, I am crowning my Patriots hat. We got a victory over the Bills. What?
If I should put my Giants gear on too. It's very rare occasion that we ever get a W. So
I was just about to get to it with you. You guys also got a W down in or up in New York, and I was just gonna say the Patriots. I might not be. I'm happy about the win because a win is a win, and I'm always happy when we beat those no good stinking Buffalo Bills. But I am a little like there's a little slight edge to that where it's like, I mean, this season is basically a wash.
Kind of a tank season.
I want that top 5 pick. I want that.
I see where you're coming.
I'm looking at this guy from Ohio State, Mr. Marvin Harrison Jr. His father played in the NFL, pretty good player.
This guy's scouting. This guy knows what he wants. He's gonna call up
tomorrow night, Adrian, I know your team doesn't play. My team doesn't play, but the NBA is tipping off, opening night tip-off. We are both major basketball fans. That's going to be exciting. We got the number 1 matchup of the Western Conference Finals rematch, Nuggets and Lakers. Can't wait for that. But let's get into the reason why you all are here. And before we actually get to the show, sorry for the one more pause. If you're watching now, please give us a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe if you are new, share the content on social media with your friends and family. Sorry, I just hit the mic. And comment along with us and tell us what you think and your thoughts and opinions on what we are about to talk about, UFC 294, Fury and Ngannou, and all the fights in between and everything else that we break down today. And
Definitely.
follow us on social media. Links are in the description for myself, for Adrian, and for the Wise Guys. All those things are in the description. Click those links. Follow us along and chat with us. But let's get into the reason why you are all tuned in. UFC 294 was this Saturday afternoon. Adrian, where do you want? Let's start with the main event, the fight in which this card was built, as Mr. John Anik likes to say. This guy is a wordsmith, but he was having a little struggle after the I think the Islam fight it was. He had a little bit of a pause where he couldn't find his wording. He got there eventually. But shout out John Anik. Me and him had a back and forth on Twitter. Nothing tensious. But we were talking about
Gotta love
Lamar
John
Jackson
Anik.
going to the Patriots, and I was like, John, listen, Bill's not going to pay Lamar. We all know this. Like he wouldn't pay Tom. He's not going to fucking pay Lamar. But shout out Boston guy John Anik. Love John Anik. He's great at what he does. Hall of Famer.
I didn't know he was a Patriots fan. I had no idea.
He is a Patriots from Boston. This is a guy. From
I had no idea. The dude is he's good at what he does. But
good at what he does. But let's get into it. Islam Makhachev knocks out Alexander Volkanovski in the first round, no less. I had to do a double take 2 days ago, Adrian, when I was going over our notes and stuff. I was like, it was in the first round, right? And it was in the first round. Head kick knockout. Or as Mr. What was it? No, it wasn't this time last year. No, it was a couple of months ago last year. Headshot KO.
Headshot dead.
Yep, from Mr. Leon Edwards, who's fighting this December. But I'm babbling on. Adrian, let me get your thoughts on the main event. Islam Makhachev defeats Alexander Volkanovski. What did you think of the fight? What were your impressions? What were initial thoughts?
Damn. That's the first thing I had to say was just damn. Like, I mean, you looked at it. We all kept talking about Volkanovski, and I think that his adjustments were going to be an apparent thing, from this fight and last fight. Islam gave him no time to adjust. Just didn't give him and passed the first round. So.
Oh, Adrian is lagging there for us, so we're gonna wait for him to come back now. But yeah, I guess I'll give you my thoughts on the fight. Adrian was just saying that I believe and Adrian is gone. He's gonna be back with us soon. I'm gonna get him back in here, guys. Let me just send him an invite real quick. And we'll get him in there. That is this. Oh, there he is. Hello, there you are.
What's going on? Where'd you lose me?
You didn't even get into it. You just said I forgot exactly, but you didn't get into it. You didn't get into it.
I got you. Like I said,
damn. You said damn. Didn't give him a time to adjust. That's where you were at. Didn't give him time to adjust.
Exactly. Okay, awesome. Yeah, definitely Islam. Surprised this. Oh, we thought it was gonna be he was gonna stick to his strengths, wrestle him. He pulled out the striking, and what he did, he recognized what he was doing really well with that last fight, which was that back leg kick. He had the height advantage. He had the angle with the orthodox fighting. Alex likes to switch stances a lot, but when he had that orthodox, he had that back leg kick going for him, and he did one of the oldest tricks in the book: set up that body shot, keep him thinking about it, and he just drops his hands just low enough for him to get grazed in the head. And what a vicious ground and pound, man! It just hurts my heart even watching it, like because Volk is such a great champion, and so is Islam, and you hate to see one of those guys lose, but at the end of the day, who could have imagined a first round knockout? I couldn't.
It was bad, the ground and pound. I mean, just had him pinned up against the cage and his knee, and
right up against his knee. Yeah, horrible scene.
The initial shots were obviously to the back of the head, a couple of bad ones to the back of the head, but
But it was already the beginning of the end. I wouldn't say it was anything that was going to change the outcome of the fight.
It's just,
I will say
for Volkanovski, because that's more damage. You don't want to get hit back. There's a reason why it's not allowed in the
absolutely.
It's too dangerous. But in a sport that is the ultimate most dangerous sport. But you hit on something, the body kicks. Right off the bat, I mean, Islam was going straight after the body. And that was smart on two counts. One, like you said, setting up the head kick, go low, aim high later, right? But also, two, guy coming in on 11 days notice. If this is a 5-round fight, I want your cardio test. What's the best way to do that? Attack that body. Get him breathing heavier, attack that body, hit those things that basically make everything work in terms of the cardio. But I remember this right off the bat. I think it was 355 in the first round, right? That was Islam's first head kick he threw. And obviously it didn't land flush. I believe it was a block. but right there, you kind of like took I feel like I'm pretty sure the announcers made a Paul Felder, if I'm not mistaken, made a point to point that out. Basically, sound redundant right there. That this was a big thing in the first fight. He landed that head kick. He tried to land that head kick a lot, and this one was just, I mean, perfectly placed. Alex, even after the fight, said thought I had it blocked, went straight over the guard and shinned a dome like everybody is saying, and that would have knocked out anybody. That was a lethal head kick shot, and it was like you said, right? You said, "Damn!" I said, I didn't see that coming.
Especially if you go back into it and you look at it, like I said, it's just setting up the body. He's lowering himself. He's turning into it, and when you're turning into a strike, it's just gonna make it. I hope nobody has to ever turn into or zig when they should have zagged, because it's gonna hurt a lot more than you think. That's why you get extra damage in the UFC games for that, because that's how it is in real life. But it's just the way it was. It's the way it went.
They say the ones that you don't see don't hurt that bad, but they can be the ones that put your lights out. But yeah, I man, let's see. What do you want? Did you have any other points you wanted to get into the fight before we?
I think that when Islam did keep throwing his back leg kick, it was just like I said, it was just not only does he come in at 11 days rest on 11 days notice, and let's really test that cardio, test that tank, but also has no danger. There's no danger with it. That back leg kick, he throws it all day. Alex has to come in and he has to create the distance. He has to take control of the void. And that's what Mighty Mouse calls it, the void, the distance between the two people. And that's what Mighty Mouse is really touching on too. You got it when you throw that, and there's no counter straight that's coming from Volk unless it's timed perfectly. But if it's going out there, you either got to eat it, or you got to get out the way, or you got to just fight fire with fire. And unfortunately, he felt it one too many times, and he costed him. He made the wrong decision, and we all get caught. Everybody's gonna get caught. That's just the sport. That's the beauty about the sport. Anybody can get caught at any moment.
Any given Sunday, any day of the week, and I did want to get this point across though, and everybody else is hammering at home, and I think you would be in agreement too. Is the 11 days didn't really play a factor in this case. This was, I think. Does this head kick land if he gets a full training camp? Maybe not, but he was setting it up. It was something that he obviously was working on. The footage is coming out now of him training that kick and practicing that kick leading up to the fight. But what I mean by this, the 11 days didn't play a factor is that you can't make the excuse like it went late into the rounds and Volk gassed out and stuff like that. Like, listen, Volk knew what he was getting into, and he alluded to it in the post fight and everything. This is a tough ass fight. He wanted to go. He even spoke on it in the post fight press conference where he said, I was literally right before that head kick, I was literally in my mind having a conversation with myself and saying, all right, it's time to go. Let's go. We're about to go. And then lights out, and you don't have the time to go.
Adjust.
So you gotta go. But yeah, it was a pretty quick fight. Nothing else. We have a commenter here. I don't know. We got Islam getting ready to surpass Khabib.
Okay. He's got one more title fight till he matches that record. So
I don't know if that guy, Slumdog Millionaire, I believe it. Yep, Slumdog Millionaire is his name. I don't know if that's what he means. I think he means it in terms of. I would hope he's not meaning, in terms of status all time, because I've got Khabib as a top 10 fighter of all time. I know a lot of that's, a hot take to some people because he didn't have the length and stuff like that. But 29-0 is 29-0. He did have a lot. And I hear the point. I don't have him. I think I have him like 6 or 7 all time around there. But yeah, in terms of title fights, he might surpass Khabib. Khabib only stayed around. What did he defend? He defended it against McGregor. He defended it against Gaethje, Poirier, and that's it, right? Because he won the title on Iaquinta. I think he only did 3 times, and Islam's already got, what has he got now? He's got two. There's the fucking thumbs up. He's got two title fights, defenses. He's got Volk twice. Yeah. Now he's got the 3rd fight.
But
I was saying, just in general, if the shoe fits. Justin Channel. Okay, listen. I mean, listen. If he defends the title again, and I don't know if I see a guy at 155 going to be able to compete with him in the near future right now. But if he moves up to 170, which he's alluded to multiple different times, and we're going to dive into it in the Bellator stuff, a guy in Bellator, 155-pound champ over there, Mr. Usman Nurmagomedov, it was actually asked a question on in the post-fight press conference, Islam was, and he said, the plan is for Usman to eventually come over here. He's 25 right now, so he's the young gun. Come over here. He takes over 155, and Mr. Islam is back up at 170 or he retires. But yeah, so we're going to see
crazy
stories to be written on there. But I think we've attacked that fight enough. Do you want to dive into what's next for let's just cover the rest of the card. Let's keep covering the rest of the card.
We'll delve into it real quick.
I feel like we should probably save what's next to the end where we cover.
We will. We'll touch on to it. We have our agenda. We're gonna go base by base. But I think we'll definitely get to the Khamzat fight and
let's get
Khamzat Usman and Ankalaev Walker. Not much to talk about anyway with the latter, but Khamzat and Usman.
Talk to me about the co-main event, Adrian. What did you think of Khamzat Chimaev defeating Kamaru Usman? Kamaru Usman. Apologies. In a what was it? A majority decision.
Majority decision. I did see. I thought that was a very likely outcome. I think nobody was surprised by the outcome. I think everybody was surprised that Kamaru came in looking as sharp as he did. I think that Kamaru did put himself in a good light at the welterweight class if he wants to middleweight class, excuse me, if he wants to stay there. But at the same time, we're also hearing that apparently Khamzat might have broken his hand after the first round, which would make a lot of sense because we did see him look like a world beater in the first round. And then the second round, he looked like he took his foot off the gas. And for everybody, including myself, I was wondering why. Why are you going to strike with Kamaru when you was basically in total control the entire first round? I would have even scored that round to 10-8. Same with Paul Felder, I was hearing him say. That was a definite 10-8 round. So
you give that a 10-8? You thought
that first 10-8, that first round, 1,000%. It was
I
no control.
I disagree.
No control. Yeah, total control him.
I get that point, and I was listening to weighing in this morning, John McCarthy and Josh Thompson, shout out them, big fan of the show, and they were having the disagreement too. John McCarthy was on your side where a 10-8, and Josh was on the 10-9 route like me, and I believe it was 10-9. Listen, what would I actually
me and Big John know what's
Big John McCarthy, shout out Big John.
Let's go.
That man literally, I'm not even kidding, needs a job in the higher ups of the mixed martial arts community, if that UFC or whatever, because this man's brain, he was there when they freaking wrote.
We'll have we can go into a whole nother topic on one of those days, on one of those weeks where we got no fights. We'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. Shout out Big John.
But what I would actually score it, and this goes back to, and then Josh was making this point too. This is my whole point is the 10-9, the 10-9 must system, the 10 whatever must system. It's a broken system.
Yeah,
especially in MMA. It should be half point. Or if you want to go decimal, I'm down. That can get a little bit too confusing if we go like 10.8, 10.7. That could be a little, 10 and 8.7, something like that. That could be a little confusing. But if you want to go just half, I would say this was more, round one was more 10, 8.5 than 10-9 or 10-8, because there wasn't damage where it was like this fight has a potential to end. But it had the control, right? It was like 60 something to 1 or 2 shots from Kamaru in the first round. So obviously you got that type of disparity. But I just, for me, I hear the 10-8, but I would say it was a 10-9.
Yeah, I could see the decision regardless, but that's the beauty of the having the judges and having everybody and having the discussion of the community. You never know what's going on, man. You really don't. And even the commentators will say, shit, we think it's going to be a majority decision, but you never know. Almost every fight you hear that, so it's like just take the fight out of the judge's hands.
So you dove into the first round a little bit. So I mean, right out of the gate, kind of what I expected. Khamzat almost instantly, dove for the legs and tried to get the takedown, right, and then he got it pretty quickly once he
got a bunch.
I saw Kamaru's face when he was getting taken down. Just that gritted face, like I'm trying not to get taken down. And then Khamzat's just too much. That man's just too much. And you did allude to it too, Adrian. And a lot of people are bringing this up too. The discourse around Khamzat right now is a little. I get it and I hear it, but nobody is, and when they do bring it up, they slide it under the rug, is the broken right hand. Like the guy alluded to that he broke his right hand. Now we don't have the MRIs, we don't have the confirmation, but he said his hand that would
Said he
play
thinks
the
he did, yeah.
that second round. There was a good portion of the middle of that second round where there was no action.
It was very stagnant. It was almost like he was filling him out all over again, and it was like Khamzat. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and that plays the factor of the broken hand. That's obviously he can't throw it. And then you might say, oh, in the third round he started throwing. Yeah, but that's because a caged lion is getting attacked, backed into a corner, and he's just gonna throw those shots, right? Like fighter going on the shield.
I wouldn't want to fight Kamaru with one hand either. Like, you throw that right hand, absolutely throw that right hand. But I think
I really just hope that because the title fight, right? Obviously, this was the moniker around this fight, right? Was the title fight. I don't know where we go at that, and we're gonna get into that. But Usman did look good. He did look a lot better than I expected. I thought he was gonna get the finish in round 1, and he wasn't able to, and that was smart by Usman. Beautiful at tucking your chin, my guy. This man, chin tucking master. There was multiple points in that first round, extended points, where his hands were just open free or on the mat or something else, not even protecting his neck, and he would tuck chin. Beautiful, beautiful tucking the chin. Not being able to get that submission, that's a little bit lackluster to me, right? You look at Khamzat and you're like, this guy, you should be able to get that finish on him. But Usman, former champ, obviously coming off a 2-fight losing streak, and now he's coming back. I expected a little more from Khamzat. I think we're losing Adrian here, but it's okay. I expected a little more from Khamzat, but like I said, the broken hand plays a major factor into it, and I think that's the case where you just have to kind of give him. You got to see first off where the MRI comes. I don't know if Khamzat's going to be lying about a broken hand, so I think kind of give him a little bit of a leeway there with the case, and we got 2 Adrians here. Hello, Adrian. I'm going to try and kick your other Adrian out. There he is. He's gone.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, it started freezing up on me, but I did hear your tangent. I did hear it.
Yeah. So basically, I was just saying, like the broken hand. We got to give him a little bit of a pass there, in my opinion. A little bit of a pass. What do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, we all would have to wait and see what actually goes on. I heard Dana was really like, if it's a 5-round fight, it looks like a different fight. I mean, like, yeah, it does. I could agree with you. Who knows? We've never seen Khamzat actually go to a 5-round war. I mean, we had question marks with Gilbert Burns. Just like it's the Khamzat is just this enigma, man. He's just like, you get answers with Khamzat when he fights, but sometimes he leaves you with a few more questions. It's like, all right, maybe he does look like a force. He does look like he's going to be a champion at one point, but does he have the gas tank? Does he have all these the striking ability? What happened? It's almost like it's like I said, you get an answer to a question, then you get a couple other questions. Like I said, I think everything will change if we can get a confirmation on that hand. Yeah. But until then, I'm still wondering because Kamaru did look really well. We all, myself included, really counted him out. Thought he might get finished. Who knows? But I think this could have been on a case of Dana probably just propping up Kamaru as well for middleweight to make him a contender there too. Who knows? But at the end of the day, he knows what he's going to do with these guys, and we just have to wait and see because the sport's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't the fight I expected, right? I came out. We talked about it last week. I came out and I said I expect a 1st-round finish. To be honest with you, I feel like Khamzat's going to come out the gates and Kamaru's not going to be ready for it. And I was right on the first part. Khamzat came out the gates, but Usman was ready.
Yeah, shot instantly for that double leg.
I mean, Usman,
and I will say,
go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
Please, continue.
I didn't have anything. That was that.
No, I was just saying, like, he shot out the gate really well, and I wanted to use that as a segue because Ankalaev shot out the gate really well, and it's unfortunate what's going on with this man, and it's unfortunate what's going on with light heavyweight. Light heavyweight is the most snake-bitten division right now, and it sucks because it's just like, man, who knows? Ankalaev
and everything falls apart, right?
Yeah, man. It's just you had the fight, you had the guys, you had the name value. Johnny Walker just put himself back into that contention, that real name, that real area to be called a title contender after a questionable knockout losses. And then Ankalaev finally gets back in the ring. And It's just unfortunate what's happening to this dude because that draw, man, we can go harp on that draw all day, but it's just an unfortunate situation for light heavyweight. And I hope that we finally get some action in there because we're desperate as fans to see something real crazy go on in light heavy.
So what would you and quickly we had a comment here. I didn't see this one about Khamzat, so we want to get to that. Khamzat mystique is disappearing, looking human. Still a great fighter, hilarious too. He is very funny. The mystique is coming down for a lot of people. I am hearing that. For me, that's why I said is I'm giving them pass on the broken hand. Because we saw even in Gilbert fight when he was tired, man was still coming at him. I mean, he wasn't backing down, right? So I want to give him that's what I'm saying. So that was 170 depleted Khamzat, right? He's good. He's at 185 now, more fresh, more fit, right? And he had a broken hand in this fight, so I'm going to give him a tiny pass there. Next fight, I do want to see him in a 5-rounder though. I always love to see a contender fight in a 5-rounder before they fight for the title. I was big on Sean. I understood waiting for it, but I really wished he took a fight before like a 5-rounder and fought a 5-rounder. But listen, it might not even go 5 rounds, so I'm just talking to the moon here.
Who knows?
But Ankalaev, like you were saying, Ankalaev and Johnny Walker.
What a shit show!
I mean, what's going on here? You had the knee to the ground at upon me. It was clear as day. But one thing that was brought up to me, Adrian, was like at first I thought Johnny Walker was concussed, right? But now I'm kind of having questions about it. And I'll walk you through why. So at first, why I thought he was concussed was when the doctor came in, right, and asked him a question. I audibly heard, "What round is it?" from the doctor. Asked him that question. And I was staring at Johnny, and Johnny was just staring off into space. The mouth was open, breathing, and he didn't say anything for a while.
It did take him a while to respond. It's almost like he didn't respond instantly, and I can understand the damage being significant, but also at the same time, you hit anybody in the head hard enough, they're gonna drop, and maybe they'll be a little stunned. And yeah, they'll sometimes you've seen Benson Henderson damn near go unconscious and come back and keep fighting. So it's like,
Adrian, I just saw a video today of, I don't know if you've seen it, of Johnny Walker getting knocked out 5 times in a
that's what I'm saying.
That's
so it's like, I mean, shouts to the doctor for just, that I was mentioning this before we went live. They have a tough job in there. As fans, it's easy to criticize people. I want us to remember that. But at the same time, this is the doctor that told the dude he didn't get hit in the balls when the dude was screaming and aching in pain and ended up going to the back and throwing up. And then getting sent to the hospital. So it's like, I'm trying to give him some leeway here, dude. I mean, I understand the language barrier. Apparently, he said that when he asked where he was, I heard something about asking what round it was, and he was saying he was in the desert, which isn't entirely wrong. But at the same time, I can understand why it would be like, all right, you're not in a desert, bro. You're in a cage. But at the end of the time, like, it was just a shit show. It was just a giant shit show.
Like Dana said after the fight,
they're trying to fight afterwards.
Yeah, they were trying to fight. Apparently something was said there, I think, between them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forget exactly, but something was said there.
I'm over here thinking Johnny's like, all right, forget them. I just want to keep fighting. They're in the ring. They're going to be in the ring. Let's just keep going.
Instantly, that was Johnny saying, "Oh, I thought the fight's going back on." But later on, when they kept trying to get into it, I think something was said between them, and that's why they kept going at it. And Dana came in and was like, playing teacher and principal, like, cut the shit.
I hadn't had to do that in a while.
Once they saw Dana, they're like, all right.
He's like, oh, the guy who cuts the checks here. We got to stop.
Everybody calm it down here. But one thing I wanted to get into with that was the question, right? So that's why I thought he was concussed. But now listening to weighing in, like I mentioned earlier, and Big John again making a great point. He likes to, and this is just an experienced vet, experienced eye looking at stuff that I wouldn't be able to, me, you, or any average fan or whatever the case won't be able, even certain fighters probably wouldn't be able to see this, right? And John picked up on it instantly, which is crazy. This is what he looks for, is right after that occurs, a knee to a ground opponent, is I instantly look at what does the guy instantly do right after that. And he pointed to what he did right after that. The first thing Johnny Walker did after he got kneed and the ref broke it up was he pointed to his head and he pointed to his knee and his hands went up. That tells you, what does that tell you? This guy's fully conscious. He knows exactly what just happened. He walked you through
I just got hit in the head with a knee, bro. What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was like, oh, that's wild. I'm not saying Johnny Walker got out of the fight or anything like that, but that's all I'm pointing to that where now I'm a little confused by that. And then obviously there was the doctor. I want to get this point across. Doctors and officials and Big John got this across too. You got to start giving these fighters the full 5. Like, don't be cutting it so soon. Like, I understand you want to be safe and that's the doctor's job, but you got to give these professionals time. They have a full 5 minutes for a reason. Like, that is implemented for a reason. So there's no reason for you to
make a decision prior.
Right out of the gate. Like, this guy asks a question and he hesitates. He doesn't answer. And then you go to the ref and you say, boom, like the fight's over. Somebody's got to communicate there and say, well, wait. Let's give the fighter 5 minutes. Let's give him the full 5 minutes. Let's see what happens. Let's play it out. We got time. Like, there's no rush here. There's no rush here. Nobody's going nowhere. All right? Nobody's going nowhere. So that's all I wanted to get across is that we got to start giving these fighters more time in certain situations like this. But next up, so any more points on Ankalaev and I keep forgetting Johnny Walker's name. Johnny Walker or no?
I definitely no, I think that was pretty much it. I think that again, that it's just an unfortunate situation that we have to deal with as fans because it's just like you said, it's
that's
we have these things implemented and we sometimes question why certain things happen the way they are and then unified rules and it becomes a whole debate. We can definitely get into it another time and
we'll get into that throughout the coming weeks and months.
And I will also remind people if there are people here, like I said, they're definitely like and subscribe and definitely let us know what you guys want to talk about because that does help us out a lot, you know. So give us topics, give us your ideas and what goes on out there, and so maybe you guys see some things that we may not catch, and it'll definitely keep us busy and keep you guys entertained, so we can pump out the best content.
Keep everybody on their toes. So my other fights that happened, Ikram got a big win over Wally Alves, big knockout win. I actually had that predicted there. I thought he was going to get the finish. I didn't think knockout, but I thought he was going to get the finish. He was able to get that finish. Saeed Nurmagomedov got the submission victory in the first round, caught him in a front choke. And the main event of the prelims, the other big fight was Muhammad Mokaev and Tim Elliott. A couple of knees there that happened, things took place there, but Mokaev was able to get the victory in the final waning moments of that fight. And apparently he was down on a 2 judges scorecard, so he was going to lose that fight most likely if he didn't get that
the finish.
Yeah, so that's crazy to hear there. Muhammad Mokaev moves to 11-0. He's going to be ranked top 10 now in the flyweights, and here comes the Sizzler, baby. He's going to be moving towards the title shot soon.
And I also want to bring that Brendan fight up because that comeback. That Brendan fight was what a crazy comeback. And I'll bring up the exact details for the card.
Oh, Breeden,
excuse me. Yes, Breeden. The Breeden fight.
Fighting the first ever Indian-born
versus Jubilee, correct?
UFC fighter, sorry, champ.
Yep, it was Breeden versus Jubilee, and man, what a fight! Because I had Jubilee winning that fight all the way through until the dude started barking at him in the third, and finished him. And wow, that was insane. Because I don't know if you saw it. Did you see that? The dude was literally barking at him. He got in his head. He made him look scared.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I think I vaguely watched that fight. Stuff was going on early on, but I do remember him going on. And I'm looking at the fights. I mean, he was basically in control of it. That was his first loss too. Jubilee was 7-0.
Crazy. Jubilee, when it came to technical fight, when it came to just fighting, Jubilee was better in every aspect, piecing him up, counters, getting out the way. The defense was beautiful. And Breeden it was like the moment Jubilee opened up that cut and his eyebrow was flapping everywhere, Breeden like snapped. And it was like, bet, like I'm locked in. I got to go all in or all out. And he really went all in.
That's a massive win for Breeden, dude. 11-6, beating a guy who's 7-0, up and comer. So that's
absolutely. So it's good for him.
Any other fights you wanted to cover of the UFC 294?
I think that we can move on to what's next by asking what is next for Islam.
This guy, what are you, a genius or something? There. What is next? No. Let's start from the top. Mr. Islam Makhachev what is next for Islam? I mean, so we got some things going on, right?
We got Dana talking about it's got to be Charles, but I mean, it doesn't have to be because we know how the UFC is.
Yes,
Our sport, crazy our sport is.
We've got two fighters, and here's the balloons. Hello, apparently it's balloon time. Balloons just popped up for no reason. We got two fighters. We got Mr. Charles Oliveira in the rematch, or we got Mr. Justin Gaethje, who is currently holding the BMF championship for whatever you want to make that for, right?
Whatever that counts in your mind. Whoever that.
So what, Adrian, I'm going to ask you, what if you were Dana White, you're Dana White, you have the pencil. Who does Islam Makhachev defend his championship against next?
When it comes to okay, I got there's the right answer and then there's the UFC's answer. The right answer is Charles Oliveira because it's the fair way. You know, the fair way. It was his time. It was supposed to be his turn. He did everything right. It was just unfortunate the guy got hurt. It's not his fault. It's not like he pulled out and Dana was going to pull it's an opportunity that you didn't take card. You know, It was his fault. He even said it in the presser. You got to give it to Charles.
Mr. Adrian is blanking on us one more time. Apologies for the technical difficulties, folks. So he talked to Charles, and he was about to get to the Gaethje. I feel like I know where Adrian was going at this point in time. The right thing to do is to go with...
You can't go wrong, but I think that...
Oh. You're back.
I'm back. Hello.
You hear me?
I hear you. Yes.
Yeah, you cut out, and there's the fireworks. Hello, everybody, the fireworks.
We're having a little bit of Wi-Fi technical difficulties, guys.
Right
I apologize.
You cut out right when you were about to get to Justin Gaethje. Oh, you cut out again. Okay, so I'm gonna take over, Adrian. So I feel like I knew where Adrian was going with this, right? He was saying the right thing to do is for Charles Oliveira to get the opportunity, right, to get the fight. He didn't lose the fight. And Adrian will be back with us. Apologies, folks, for the technical difficulties. But Charles Oliveira deserves the fight and is rightfully owed the fight, is what Adrian was getting at, because Charles had the fight. The fight was booked. He got a cut. It wasn't his fault. Just something happened in
Here we are.
There you go, Adrian. I'm taking over for you. I got you here because I feel like I know where you were going with it, right? You were saying
I apologize for the technical difficulties, guys.
The right thing to do is for Charles to get the fight, right? Because it was his fight. It was booked. He got cut. It wasn't his fault. And then I knew you were going, and then you were cut out, and then you cut out right there when you were getting to. I believe what you were going to get to was Justin. But what the UFC thing is going to do is Justin Gaethje. And so I'll let you take over from there. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think that the UFC thing to do absolutely would be whatever's going to draw the more attention, whatever's going to sell more. You're always going to have that Charles Oliveira fan base now, and I think that that's one of the bigger fan bases in the MMA community. That Charles hype. But I think that when you want to talk about creating a banger fight and just causing just mayhem and controlled chaos, and you call him the highlight for a reason, it's Justin Gaethje. I don't think anybody would be complaining if you saw that fight happen either. I think that both would sell very well, but if there's really anything that's going to compromise Charles's sales or anything money-wise, I think you give it to Gaethje. That's going to be what the UFC would do. But chronologically speaking, I don't see anything that compromises the bottom line that's going to stop Charles from getting that shot. So I think it's going to be Charles Oliveira.
So you would go, and you think it's going to be Charles. For me, I've made it pretty clear on social media and to people. I don't think it should be Charles. I don't think it should.
I did see that.
Yeah. I don't think it should be Charles. I didn't think it should have been Charles on this past weekend either. I didn't think he should have been the guy. I thought it always should have been Volk. Because if we go back to it, if we want to go fair, right? If we want to go fair and let's look at everything, pros and cons, lay them both out. Charles last year fought Islam in their first fight. He got dominated. It was one-sided blowout. Islam absolutely just died. He knocked him down, and then he wasn't even scared. Went right into his guard and choked him out. So he's already fought him before. You already know what's going to happen. You've already seen what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Charles takes a fight in June. He fights Beneil, and he gets a massive knockout win against Beneil Dariush with a head kick. Beautiful. This is the year of the head kicks, apparently. But if you look at Justin, right?
Head
He
kick.
is
Head
right.
kick.
He's beaten Fiziev, sorry, earlier this year in an impressive victory against a young up-and-comer, right? Who's
A guy that a
hungry.
lot of people had winning that fight
Exactly.
too. Let's not forget.
Who's one of the a master of the striking game, technician to the highest degree. He beats him, right? You think Gaethje's going to be out. He's the old guy. He's going to be gone. And the new guy's coming in. Nope, Gaethje puts him down, and he doesn't knock him out, but he's in a very exciting fight of the night style fight. Then in late July, he fights Dustin Poirier, who he had previously lost to by TKO several years ago, in a main event fight for the BMF championship, again, whatever you put into that. And he is able to shock the world again in the second round, get a head kick knockout that I don't think anybody expected. I mean, Gaethje doesn't really throw head kicks. He knocked him out with the head kick flush, knocked him out. Again, head kicks is the thing this year. Everybody start throwing head kicks, right? So that's where I go, and I go, Andy's never fought him before, Adrian. So I go, I would give it to Gaethje. I'm sorry. I think this is what I would do, right? You go Islam versus Justin Gaethje for the championship, and you do Charles Oliveira versus Mateus Gamrot. I think that's where we should go with that. What do you think?
I didn't see a problem with it. I don't, but I think that like I said, you already given so much stock into this. I don't think that Dana. I don't really want to say that Dana owes anybody anything. He doesn't owe anybody a damn thing, and I think he knows that too. But I think that, like I said, this Charles comeback story is one that is going to be something to sell. I think that the fans will be there for it. Everybody's going to be there for it. Sorry to Gaethje, but I think that that although that does seem fair, I don't see it happening. I don't.
You think it's going to be Charles? Listen, I'm not super pumped for either fights. I'm more excited for Gaethje, but I'm not excited for either fights because I feel like Islam is showing this is, and there's something to, that's the one I wanted to touch on earlier during the fight. There's something to the fact where he brought up the rehydration period. And if you go back and look at what he looked like back in February and what he looked like now, dude, it was night and day. I mean, the tan, first off, and just the physique and everything. He looked fresh on Saturday. It was pretty evident to me. But one thing I do want to say is for the 155-pound division, I would, and this has been teased for a long time now, and I don't know if we're ever going to see it, but I would love it because this 155-pound division needs a little bit of a spice up. Adrian, I don't know about you.
I agree 1000%.
You got the old heads. You got Chandler, you got Poirier, you got Gaethje, you got Oliveira now, you got Beneil's, there. Tony's exited. Habib's not there anymore. McGregor's coming back. That's going to add a big spark. I know that. I'm going to be massively I can't fucking wait for that shit.
Hope that ends up going well.
I would love for Max Holloway and or Brian Ortega to move up to 155. I think those insights.
I just want to see Brian Ortega fight. I think that's what we need.
Exactly. It's been over a year.
We just need T-City to get back in the cage.
He messed up his arm and he only lasted. It was like a 2.5-minute fight against Yair, which another fight I was super excited to see, and we didn't really get to see much of it or any of it at all. But I would just love to see Max Holloway and Ortega move up to 155. That would be incredible. It'd spice things up. But let's get over to the other man, Adrian, Mr. Alexander Volkanovski. What's next for Volk? I feel like we all know it. He's made it pretty evident, right? I think we know the guy. I just think maybe the date is where we're,
getting shaky about.
Yeah. It's going to be at 145, and it's going to be against Ilia Topuria. That's the man. That's the guy. I don't think he should come back in January. I understand he had the post-fight press conference, and he spoke about being in a dark place and stuff like that, where he wasn't able to handle, he needs to be fighting, he needs to be in a camp, he needs to, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But I just feel like that's too quick of a turnaround. I feel like maybe February, March is where I'm feeling a little bit more. You just got KO'd. First KO since I think it was 2017 or 2014, something like that. I mean, I was at like 170, right? That's what I would say. That's what I would say. I'd say, but I really do feel like we're probably going to see him in January. I would just, if I was his coaches, I would really be pushing him to say, let's just take 1 or 2 more months off. Let's just 1 or 2 more months.
I agree with that sentiment. I think that Dana has been like, we talk about Dana. Dana has been no stranger, but telling you how he feels. And when Dana feels like some fighter is incapable of fighting, Dana will literally tell the media he doesn't want to fight, even if the fighter's telling you he wants to fight. We've seen it before. So let's be real. I mean, like I don't. Volk is just gonna be very. It's gonna be about what he says, the conversation that's had with Dana, with the UFC, with the doctors, with the trainers. Think if Volk tiptoes the right line and knows how to say the right words, they'll give him the fight. I agree with you that he probably shouldn't take the fight. I think he needs a little moment of self-reflection and talking to all the people, fighters out there, athletes out there. Or just anybody who does something for a long time and they dedicate their life to it, and then you find something more important in your life or something that just changes you. He was speaking about his family. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what he's going through, but I will sit here and I'll say that it does take a toll on a lot of people, and definitely he should seek help in the way that that is going to help him the best way possible.
I definitely, when I hear that stuff, I think he should see a sports therapist or sports psychologist.
Absolutely. And even the greatest of the greats has sports psychologists. Kobe has sports psychologists. LeBron talked about him getting himself a sports psychologist when he was in Miami. Like, all these guys, they know what they're doing, and it's there for a reason, and it's all, it's all a stigma, but it's real. We all struggle with this stuff, especially for a fighter. When you're doing this, you don't got a teammate.
When you're literally a person who fights in their underwear in a cage,
you do have
in front of millions of people, watching you. Yeah, you're gonna need to talk to somebody about that. You're gonna probably have to talk to somebody about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But Volkanovski, definitely. I think we're in agreement. I think he probably does fight in January. There's no need for it for the UFC either. They have this guy who wanted to fight in December, who's one of their biggest up and coming stars, Mr. Sugar Sean O'Malley. You got Cheeto Vera. That's a perfect fight to make for January. Let's get it done. You don't have to put Volk. You can put him in February and March, but that's not the cloth in which Volkanovski was cut from. As Mr. John Anik, another line from Mr. John Anik. Next up, let's finish off this what's next for Khamzat and Kamaru Usman. So for Khamzat, obviously the talk around it was championship, right? Winner of this fight gets a championship. You would think Khamzat's going to get the championship. There's championship fight, I should say. Strickland has then come out and said, I don't think this guy deserves shit. And these guys have trained before. They both know, how that went. But again, that's practice. That's training. As Mr. Allen Iverson said, we talk about practice. So that's completely different. When the lights come on, things will get different, right? So I've kind of said, you know what? I hear Dana say, this was the title fight, but we know Dana says a lot of things, right? He talks a lot. He says a lot of things, and a lot of things don't come to it. Listen, I want everybody to remember in May, when the fights were breaking down in that Aljo and Cejudo fight card, and Benny and Oliveira had to drop out and move, who stepped up? Gilbert Burns and Bilal. And Dana said, and I quote, the winner of this fight will be fighting for the 170-pound championship after Colby Covington and Leon Edwards fight. Well, guess what? That fight ain't happening until December, and I guarantee you Bilal Muhammad's next fight might not be for the championship. So
poor guy.
He says, poor guy. He says a lot. Listen, you took the fight. Listen, you gained a lot of favor there, I bet that we've talked about it before, but I would go in this direction, right? He broke his hand. Let's say in the case he broke his hand, right? He's going to be out for, a couple of months or so. You got to put a fight on now because Strickland's a guy who likes to be active, right? There's a guy over there who's got a more impressive resume than Khamzat, if we're going to be honest, who beat an actual middleweight, a former champion, middleweight champion.
Number one guy. We were talking about poor dudes.
Yeah,
poor dude. Dricus.
Last week too, you mentioned poor Dricus. Can't give it. Dricus Duplessis.
It was like Izzy fell off. Izzy left the sport, and they were like, "Oh, there's no storyline for you. We don't really. Well,
Yeah, we don't.
nah, we're good with you. you're not. You're not that
Now
popular with everybody else."
Now Kamaru's coming out though, and he says UFC 300 co-main event, me versus Dricus. I don't think Dricus is waiting from July to UFC 300, which is going to be around late March, maybe April or May time. So Dricus,
And I also don't
that's
see
what I
what
would do.
Dracus gets from fighting Usman. Like, what does he get? Like, he was just in line for a title shot. Now
Oh, he
you want to
doesn't-
tell
yeah,
me
he
you want
doesn't
me
get
to fight
anything.
this guy that's going to be propped up for a title shot if I lose? No.
Yeah, no.
Give me the
not
title
doing
shot.
that. Yeah, he's lost three of his last 3 fights. I can't do it. This is what I would do if I had the pencil. I don't believe this is going to happen, but this is what I would do. I would do Dricus du Plessis versus Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland for the championship, and I would rebook Khamzat versus Paulo or book Khamzat versus Jared Cannonier and do those in a 5-round fight. That's what I would do if I had
I like the Cannonier fight.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a Cannonier fight. You can even go Vittori too. Like, honestly, these guys, like, just somebody who's like, I mean, yeah, Kamaru's a wrestler. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's one of the greatest wrestlers, one of the greatest. People debate him for the greatest welterweight of all time. I'm gonna always stick a stand in and say GSP, but hey, you know what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was you want to see where he stands in the middleweight division, and that is not anything to take away from Kamaru at all. But okay, Kamaru wins again, or Khamzat wins against Kamaru Usman. Great. Where do you rank him? Is he better than these guys? Maybe. I think so. If you want to say, look at resume for resume, bar for bar, Khamzat beat this guy. So, yeah, if you want to do fight math, which never adds up, we all know that, then Khamzat is ranked higher than everybody else in the division. But we all know that for a fact may not be the case, although he does look like is on his way. But you got to give us a test. Give us something. We're not complaining. We saw a great fight. We enjoyed it, and I would love to see Kamaru hang around in middleweight, but it's just like I said, Khamzat fights, and it's like, great, you gave us a few answers, but we still got a bunch of questions.
No, I hear you there. So what do you think about Mr. Usman?
Usman's got I think middleweight. If I was him, I think middleweight. I mean, he's done everything at welterweight, really. I mean, if you're telling me he gets a chance to avenge his loss against Leon, which difficult to get after losing 2 fights, but other than avenging that loss, what really else does he have to do at welterweight? Get propped up against young prospects, and hopefully for the UFC it loses. Because no, like let him continue his legacy at middleweight and continue to build a pretty significant resume for, like you said, for your point. I mean, Izzy's no longer there anymore, so it would be a cool run to happen.
Yeah, for now, I was just saying. Yeah, for now, Izzy's not there. Yeah, he's taking out.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, he's on the back end of his career. He's starting to hit the back end of his career anyway. So it's like, now's the time. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he bet on himself, like you said. I like the only fight at 170 that makes sense is Bilal. And again, like you said, you beat Bilal, you get a title shot. I mean, do you get a title shot? We don't know. So I think 185 is probably the best option for Kamaru. You don't have to cut all that weight anymore. You can move up. You can actually get a proper training camp and build up that weight properly to 185 and fill out properly. And I think, like I said, I think du Plessis should get the title shot, but him versus du Plessis, him versus Whitaker, him versus Costa, these are all fights.
I think Whitaker.
Yeah,
I think Whitaker and a Usman fight would be crazy good. Coming off two fight skid, couple fight skid for Whitaker as well.
Yeah,
so that would be a great thing. Like 2 legends, 2 former champions, 2 guys trying to reestablish their careers in the middleweight division.
2 former welterweights too.
Exactly. So it's like I think it would be something that you could sell to fight that people would love to watch, and then maybe Bobby Nux get back to his wrestling game too when he fights tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe. But we see what got him there in the first place. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up what's next after UFC 294. So quickly, let's dive into a guy who was pictured at the event. I don't know if he was
something that Slam Dog Millionaire is waiting for.
There you go. But I don't know if he was at the event. I know he was at the weigh-ins. And we're hinting towards Mr. MVP Michael Venom Page. Now,
monster, animal.
One of the best strikers in the game. he was pictured with Dana White, and there's been rumors obviously going around. He's coming to the UFC. His contract's up with Bellator. He's coming to the UFC. He's in the back nine of his career, 35 or 36 years old, I think. And this guy has done some damage that we haven't seen to like anybody in before. I mean, he broke a guy's skull. And this guy literally fractured another man's skull.
Silva-esque, I will say.
I think he tore somebody's patella tendon, if I'm not mistaken, too, with one shot. Like, this is just a guy who does damage, like bad.
He strikes. He's got real precision striking. He's one of the most exciting fighters.
So here's the question.
Absolutely.
Right? Like Wonder Boy, right? We're gonna get to that. Who do you think? Because I think we all in agreement MVP's coming to the UFC. He's UFC bound. I believe his first fight in the UFC is going to be a la Michael Chandler, late January on the pay-per-view against a high-ranking welterweight contender. So who would you – let me pull up the rankings for you, Adrian, real quick. The 170-pound rankings, welterweight for the UFC. Who would you like to see Michael Venom Page take on in his debut fight? So we've got Usman's out of there. Leon, no. Covington, no. I don't think Bilal's taking that fight. Khamzat's not 170 anymore. Jesus, they need to clean this up now. You got Gilbert there. Shavkat is booked against Wonder Boy. So neither of those guys are going to take it. This is who I'm pinpointing. 2 guys. Well, actually, 3 guys. I got 3 guys here. I got a guy that I just looked at, and I'm like, that would be a hell of a fight, too. So we got Jeff Neal, who is top 10.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Jeff Neal was the first guy I saw.
We got Vicente Luque, number 10. And then we got a guy who will definitely make this an entertaining-ass fight, Mr. Kevin Holland. Now, I do remember MVP saying he wants a top 10 guy or nothing, and Holland is 13 right now. But his name means a lot more than Jeff Neal and Vicente. So maybe that will get him into it. But listen, those 3 fights right there. So you think Jeff Neal is the first? That would be your choice?
I think that I just pulled up the rankings myself and I was looking at it and I talking about circumstances with all the fightings booked. I saw the first 2 names were the guys that I thought of as well, was Jeff Neal and Vicente Luque.
You want to give him a striker. You want to give him a striker.
Not only do you want to give him the striker, but also I think that these guys, Luke is coming back. He's just coming back fighting. He looked real sharp, and honestly, I think that you give like you said, he's top 10 or nothing. I mean, that's MVP.
He beat.
He just won his last. He just won his last fight.
Yeah, I forgot.
So he came back strong. I think that MVP needs one of these fights where it's going to be not a promotion fight, because you don't need to promote MVP too hard, but I think that you want a fight that's going to give the UFC fans.
The guy's nickname is MVP, so he's pretty
MVP. One, yeah, absolutely. I think that less obscure fight fans. Fight fans that are usually just sticking around with the UFC. You want to give them a good springboard. I think Kevin Holland probably would be the fight to make because of that exact reason. Not only is he not top 10, which I understand would bother him, but the dude would springboard his name into the UFC mainstream.
Yes.
Because you're already a part of the mainstream. If you were a fight fan, you know who MVP is. If you're just watching UFC, you may be wondering who we're talking about.
Yep.
Bet put him against Kevin Holland. Everybody knows Kevin Holland. He maybe came off a skid. He's on the back of his career. I would love to. I want to say, like, it would feel crazy. I don't want this to happen because it just doesn't make sense for the UFC to put their star or their growing star in there. But Ian Gary, man.
Down the line.
That's a fight down the line. I know, man, because all these good fights are all down the line. You can't give them too soon.
Listen, Ian is fighting. Who's Ian got? Ian's got Vicente, right? Oh, Ian's fighting Vicente, right? At the he is. He's fighting Vicente at the in the end of the year pay-per-view.
Interesting. I did not know that. So then that takes both of them off the card.
So
I just heard that he was calling out for Wonder Boy, and I thought he was still available. But
no, because Wonder Boy got that fight. Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, Ian's fighting Vicente. They're fighting on the same card, and Shavkat's fighting Wonder Boy. So maybe next for Ian. But again, I think you're right. I don't know if you put Ian and you match those guys up right now out of the gate.
That doesn't benefit the UFC's bottom line, especially with the star power that Ian Gary is becoming. Not at all.
Yeah, you want to again. This is I talked about Adrian before the show a little bit. This is the pro wrestling of mixed martial arts here. We're thinking about the storylines. We're matching these guys up. We're not saying
Which
this
is
guy's going
exactly
to
why
win.
I don't
But
say
we want to
JDM
give,
either.
yeah, we want to give this guy a more favorable matchup, and we want to make it right. So that's why you look at Michael Chandler. Who was his first fight? Dan Hooker, exciting fighter. MMA community and UFC fans know him and love Dan Hooker. He's always going to give you an exciting ass fight. Boom, springboarded him off and off to the races there. I'm going Jeff Neal. I think Jeff Neal is the perfect guy. You get that top 10 guy. You get a guy who's going to basically only strike. That's what he wants to do. So Vicente, there's kind of a little bit of a worry if he grapples with you, but yeah, I would go Jeff. Then Kevin would be my next one out. Those would be my two, and then obviously down the line the dream fight. I think everybody knows what it is. It's Wonder Boy Thompson versus MVP. That is the damn dream fight to make. 5 rounds in London, July 2024. Book it.
I don't see why not. I think that I think it really comes down to what each of them are trying to do, because we hear Stephen Thompson talking about he wants to go one last run, and
but Adrian,
I'm for it. Like, I'm for him trying to get his last run, but I know I'm with you. It's a very difficult thing to do at that age.
The guy,
and you got to fight everybody.
You know the guy. He's faced it, right?
Yeah.
The boogeyman, Shavkat. I mean, this man is literally, I believe it's 17-0 and 17 finishes. This guy finishes.
Absolutely. So it's like it's an uphill battle, 1,000%. So I mean, I'm rooting for him because I think that it would be a dope story. But Dana said it himself. You can't just come in here only wanting to fight strikers and want to go for the chip. All right, you go into a chip, you go to fight guys good all around. Shavkat's one of those guys who's really good all around. If it happens and he does pull out this win,
there's a chance too.
Then there's a chance. There's a chance. And this is why I say I love this sport. Anything can happen.
One shot.
But if that does happen, he's in title contention. What's MVP doing? Is MVP still in the title contention too? Is that what he's looking for? Because if not, then I don't see why you don't give him a guy like a Sean Brady or like maybe some of these like guys where he's just trying to make some money, top 10 guys. But if you're fighting top 10 guys, it looks like you want to try to prepare your stock and try to really become one of those better guys.
He wants a championship.
And yeah, so I think that the path for him is there, and if that path is going to be taken, JDM could be a guy he fights too.
Adrian, I just remembered.
So
the title fight of this, I mean, if Leon stays champion, MVP moves up, you could possibly get Leon Edwards versus MVP in London, main event title. I mean, 2 English guys going up for the championship. I mean, what a fight there. What the atmosphere for that crowd. You can't do it in the O2. You gotta go Wembley. Dude.
And we'll definitely get into it. We'll definitely get into it more when we talk about some of these Bellator fighters that we want to see in
So do you want to cover that first and then we finish off with Fury and Ngannou?
Yeah, I think we should segue. That's a great segue because I will start with saying you talk about English fighters. I mean, I want to see the Edwards brothers, man. I want to see them take on the I thought that last fight that unfortunately ended with an L for Fabian Edwards against Johnny Evelyn. But both of those fighters are they're monsters. They're good at what they do. They're nasty. They're technicians. I think that if Fabian does come into the UFC, he would be looking at probably moving weight classes if Leon loses, and it may stay. Who knows? But regardless, I think that you're bringing this more UK talent, and fighting fans in the UK are active. So it's like you're not going to go wrong. MVP and the Edwards brothers. I want to start my pick with Fabian Edwards and Johnny Evelyn for some of these guys that I want to see.
You want to know what? Let's do it draft style real quick. I mean, you kind of just spoiled your two picks.
I did.
I'll be fair here. So let's draft style. So here we go.
I'll give you your next 2 picks. You get your next 2 picks.
Yes. Me and Adrian are going to pick what 5 fighters would we like to see from Bellator fight in the UFC, male or female. Adrian has already picked.
I'm gonna go with first pick is Johnny Evelyn, the now defending champion of the middleweight division in Bellator. Honestly, the dude is a rough. He's violent. That dude is just violent. He comes in there. He wants to cause damage. He wants to hurt you. He wants to finish you. And that's entertainment. That's the UFC. That's calling card. You come in. You do damage and you put on a banger. That's the reason why the UFC is even being watched by people all around the world. So it's like that guy. Guy's gonna bring guys to the sport.
He's
So I think
14
that
and
Johnny
0.
Eblin would be.
Yep, 14 and
one.
0. So Johnny Eblin's who Adrian's going with. My number one pick would be, I think this is pretty clear for everybody. I know I might be sacrilegious not picking the Bellator GOAT, but I'm going to go. My first overall pick would be AJ McKee. Young, up and comer, hungry, 145, 155. Let's go. Lost one fight. A little bit of a controversial ending against Patricio there. Definitely could be debated, but I think this is the guy you bring up, AJ McKee. Fighting's
Can't
in
fumble
his
that
DNA.
one.
Fighting's in his DNA. This is the guy. So and he's been kind of teasing it, and it's kind of just finally time to come down. I mean, you don't go.
Who was the French? I forgot. That French kid that the PFL just signed. Really good.
Oh, who the UFC messed
I think
up
that the
on.
UFC fumbled on that one. I don't think you can fumble on AJ McKee and MVP. I really don't think you can. So I think that after missing out on that signing, I think and I'm gonna find it out so I can give the viewers a better idea of who I'm talking about.
It began with a D. I forgot it was. It began with a D.
But I think that I think that that's something that the UFC is gonna jump on. Absolutely, AJ McKee.
Who's your and go out with your second pick?
My second pick is the you alluded to him before, but I think you got to go with the not the reigning, defending lightweight champion, excuse me, Usman Nurmagomedov. That dude has been tearing up the lightweight division in the Bellator for God knows how long, defending his belt. God knows how many times. I'm going to get an accurate number for you guys, but they've got nothing for him other than the lightweight division in Bellator, and I would love to see how he stacks up against UFC talent. I would love to see that. If Usman and Islam fight, I don't think that's happening, but I don't think that's happening at all. But at the end of the day, the dude is going to be talent that is going to dominate a lot of the top 10 fighters in the UFC. People love saying the UFC has the best talent in the world. Yes, they do to an extent. Usman would definitely help the UFC's talent pool, though. 1,000%.
So I'm gonna go with you, and now I'm going to take the Bellator GOAT, the 145-pound champion, Patricio Pitbull. We gotta get the Bellator GOAT in there. He's towards the, I think he's mid to late 30s. I think he's around 33 to 35 ish. It's time to make that jump. You've done everything in Bellator. Bellator, again, we're doing this topic because Bellator is, about to be bought very soon, and we all believe it's going to be by PFL. So a lot of fighters are probably not going to be. I'm not even fucking giving a thumbs up. A lot of fighters are probably not going to be even jumping over to the PFL. So there's going to be a lot of guys out there for the UFC to poach and take. And I think this is the perfect time for these fighters to fight on the biggest stage, the grandest stage, with all the eyeballs, and for the grandest prize. Because Adrian alluded it too. The UFC's got the best talent. They are the number one organization. This is the NFL. This is the NBA. This is the MLB. This is the NHL. This is that. They are the best. They are the best for a reason. So I want to see these guys come over. So AJ McKee and Patricio Pitbull are being my two picks out the gates. Adrian, who's your third pick?
I will give you guys my third pick, but I will also like to clarify before I get into it. It was Cedric Doumbé, the fighter that signs with the PFL. And to clarify for
they had a conversation. I think he was supposed to fight, and then something happened, and then it was a very weird situation.
It was a really bad falling out that should not have happened. But I will say that I believe that Umar has now defended his title 4 times. To clarify for that last fact. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. According to ESPN,
3 or 4. Yeah, 3 or 4.
I'm seeing. Yeah, it's 3. Excuse me, 3. I'm counting the fight again.
There you go.
It's Brent Primus, Benson Henderson, and Frere. But now to go to my third Bellator pick, I would love to see Mr. Showtime bring a little flash from the past back. I think that Sergio Pettis is still in the mix for lightweight. I think, like I said, I think the lightweight just needs a little more shock, a little more of a jump, and I think that's why I have a lot more of these guys coming.
He's a bantamweight champ.
Excuse me, bantamweight. Yeah, but I think that bantamweight still could use a little bit of help too. I mean, Kyle coming in, so I think that you got some of these guys that are looking forward to bigger shots. But I think Sergio Pettis still has some gas in the tank. to give some of these younger guys some work, and we'll give a good test to these guys. I think he does belong in that conversation for being in the best league. So I think that Sergio Pettis can make a great comeback.
Sergio coming back to the UFC. Okay, I'm gonna go with I don't know what you want to call him, Habib Light, whatever you want to call him, 27-0, Mr.
Habib
Yaroslav Amosov. 27-0 is 27-0. I mean that just speaks for itself. He's fighting, I believe, in the final Bellator pay-per-view or event, Bellator 301. I believe he's fighting on that card. I could be mistaken there, but so he's going for 28-0, and I think he would be a perfect addition. I believe middleweight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no, sorry, welterweight. And right in there, I mean, he fits in perfectly in that welterweight division with the Gilbert Burns's, the Leon Edwards, the Colby Covingtons, the Shavkats, the Ian Garys, the MVPs, all those guys. I mean, get Yaroslav over here. And let's see if that 27-0 is legit or if that 27-0 is a little bit more of a padded record. Let's see what's going on with Mr. Yaroslav Amosov.
Mm-hmm. And
who's your fourth?
My fourth pick, I would have to inject more life into another division that I think really needs it. Ryan Bader in the heavyweight division, I think, would be somebody that, like I said, I think this heavyweight, light heavyweight, some of these divisions are real big question marks around them. Yeah, I think you should spice it up a little bit with some of this talent that causes these guys to be like, yo, I got to fight for my spot here. It's not really a slouch fest anymore. And, I think that Ryan Bader will do that for some of these guys. We'll inject some life into that division.
So that is his fourth pick. And then for on my fifth pick, I took who did I take? I took AJ, I took Patricio, I took Amosov. Who did I take else? Was that it? I'm on my fourth pick now?
Yeah. You started with me.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm on my fourth pick now. Okay. So Amosov was my third pick. Idiot. So my third pick is Yaroslav Amosov. And for my fourth pick, I got to go the light heavyweight champion. He was actually asked about in the press conference, Mr. Vadim Nemkov. 17-2. This guy had a fight with Mr. Yuri Prohashka, who is going to be fighting for the title in the next 2 weeks against Alex Pereira. I cannot fucking wait for that goddamn fight, Adrian.
MSG is about to be jumping.
It's going to be exciting. So Nemkov would add another elite member to that light heavyweight division. And like Adrian kind of alluded to, the heavier weight classes they lack a little bit, in certain moments. So this would add a little bit more life to that light heavyweight division. So for my fourth pick, it would be Vadim Nemkov.
I like that. I like that a lot. And to continue the trend of champions joining from Bellator to the UFC, this is going to be a little bit of a tough one to sell. But if you can get past being called Wanderlei Silva in a dress, Miss Chris Cyborg. It's going to be very difficult to get the UFC to negotiate with her. I think that it's good. That bridge has been all but burned, if not stomped out and rolled over and people's elbowed and the whole 9 yards. But Chris Cyborg, to act like she's not the best female fighter in the world would be completely delusional. I think that she still got it in the tank, especially with USADA leaving. I think that opens up a window for Chris Cyborg to enter the UFC again, add some pressure to that women's featherweight division, and really start either cementing her legacy or help cement the legacies of some of these other up-and-comers. So I don't think that you really can go wrong with signing Chris Cyborg if you can get that deal done, like I said. But hey, very, very rocky road to recovery with that one. But that's just me, my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm still not over the fact that we never got to see the rematch versus Cyborg and Amanda. I mean, the two goats. You gotta run that back.
Who knows? Maybe you pluck Cyborg into the UFC, and Amanda was thinking maybe there was nothing for her to bounce back. Who knows?
That would be the only thing.
Amanda comes back, and that would be a pay-per-view sellout.
100%. I mean, that would be. I don't know about that.
Amanda Nunes the GOAT. Who knows?
I know. I love Amanda, and I sing her praises, but she's not a very big seller, and neither is Cyborg.
Sucks.
But I think that would be the only thing that got Amanda out of retirement would be Miss Chris Cyborg. You stole my pick, Adrian. Chris Cyborg was going to be my final pick, and I was going to steal away with this incredible draft that I had just alerted. Right? But
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Had to do my research. Had to do my scouting.
My draft is still much better, and we're gonna round it off. You took the champion of the 135-pound division. I'm gonna take the interim champion of the 135-pound division, Mr. Patchy Nix, the boyfriend of Miss Tatiana Suarez, who will soon be the strawweight champion of the world. Name someone who's gonna. I cannot wait for Tatiana Suarez versus Zhang Weili. That is another dream fight for me. That's gonna. But Patchy Mix, I'm picking to come over to the UFC, 18-1, interim champ for the 135-pound division of Bellator. Bring him over to the UFC, and let's listen. That 135-pound division is already stacked in the UFC. You got Sugar, you got Cheeto, you got Piotr Jan, you got Aljo, the former champ, you got Marab, you got Henry Cejudo back. You got all these dudes. Let's throw Sergio, let's throw Patchy Mix into that group, and let's just freaking have a goddamn party up in this bitch, Adrian. But that is going to conclude our 5 fighters draft that we would love to see come over from Bellator. My 5 fighters, again, are number 1 pick, Adrian. Sorry, you're Adrian. My number
I would love to
pick,
get picked to fight in the UFC.
Adrian,
Trust.
I'm coming.
One day.
Number 1 overall pick, AJ McKee. Number 2, Patricio Pitbull, the Bellator GOAT. Number 3, Yaroslav Amosov, 27-0, 170-pound division champion, welterweight champ. Number 4, Vadim Nemkov, the light heavyweight champion, 17-2, a guy who has fought Yuri Prochazka in the past. And my final pick would be the interim champion of the 135 bantamweight division in Bellator, Mr. Patchy Mix, standing 18-1.
Solid draft. I don't see any slow fights happening with that draft, and myself included. I think with the draft of Johnny Evelyn, Sergio Pettis, Chris Cyborg, Ryan Bader, not in that order, obviously, but I think that you can go, and Usman, of course. I think that either way, you're spicing up these divisions where they need it. Some of these older heads are coming out, and they're getting filled in with some of these either still older heads, but also got guys that still have a lot in the tank, or a lot of guys that are up and coming and just dominating their own division.
So we've teased it enough. It's a part of our thumbnail, so it's time to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
The only real, fight or big fight that's happening this weekend, no UFC this weekend, where they're taking a week off and they're coming back in Brazil the week after. We have got, and it's happening in the afternoon again, folks. It's 2 weeks in a row. Big fights are happening in the afternoon. So
I'll have to stay up super late. Thank you.
Yep. I've already taken the day off because Adrian, I'm going to be going to Foxwoods that day. We're going to Hell's Kitchen for one of my boys' birthday.
Nice.
That's going to be exciting. A lot of money is going to be spent, but we're going to be leaving a little early in the afternoon on Saturday to get up to the room just in time for this fight. It's going to be starting around maybe 4 to 5 o'clock, somewhere in that range. So we're going to try and get up there and be able to watch this fight. So, but I'm teasing long enough. Tyson Fury, the lineal, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, undefeated, taking on the former, I'm not giving you lineal UFC heavyweight champion no more. Right? The former UFC heavyweight champion, the man who probably hits harder than any person on this god green earth.
That Ford F-150 fist.
Built from the sand mines of Africa and Cameroon, Mr. Francis Ngannou. Le puede ter. I love the way Ariel Helwani says it with his friend. Le puede ter. Adrian, it's a big fight. Listen, this is actually instant question quickly. Percentage. What is your level of hype? 1 out of 10.
As a fight fan, I think that my hype is relatively around a 7, because I think that you're going to get the highest level of boxing from Ngannou. You're going to get a good amount of striking level from the highest level of boxing from Tyson, excuse me, and the mid level for striking from Ngannou, excuse me. But at the same time, how are you going to, as an average casual boxing fan as well, or any casual fight fan as well, 2 big guys throwing haymakers. Oh, yeah. Who's not gonna want to watch that? So I think that's gonna sell itself. Ngannou, like I said, a Ford F-150 fist, according to Dana. It's harder than a Ford F-150 truck. So I think that dude is it's a puncher's chance, and I think that I will be waiting to watch, and then I will enjoy watching every moment because that fight can end at any moment, any minute.
Exactly. I mean, it's gonna be you're gonna be on. Everybody's gonna be on pins and needles, goosebumps, waiting to. We're gonna get into what we think is gonna happen and predicting that what's gonna happen. But my level for excitement leading up, I wasn't that excited because I feel like it's kind of a foregone conclusion what's gonna happen. And we're gonna.
I
Get
agree.
into that. But now I'm kind of talking about it's the only thing going to be happening. Kind of in the fight world on that day and that weekend. So you kind of have to get excited and pumped up for it. It is a big, massive event. The more you think about it, the more I talk about it, the more hyped I get. So I would give it up myself an 8 right now. Excuse me. Just the momentum is starting to build. And obviously on fight week, things start to, ramp up and your excitement level and the goosebumps start to come up. Go ahead.
I'll give it a 7.5 just because, I don't know why I give it a 7 is because the McGregor Mac fight, the May fight, Mac fight was just it sapped out all the hype about a MMA boxer potential
Also,
matchup
that
it was like a boxing match. Cool.
That one's so different too because of the trash talk beforehand. You haven't had the trash talk. Neither of these guys. I mean, Tyson is. But Ngannou is not a trash talker, so you're not getting that. McGregor put on a spectacle.
Absolutely, but I think also just coming down from the fight itself, let's
talk about it.
I think that this fight's not already going to be more exciting, if not more anticipated than the previous one, because both of them are world-class boxers fighting against world-class fighters, but they're going to be boxing, so it's like, of course, the boxer should win, but the repercussions of getting hit in the jaw for this one is not going to be the same as the weight class that Mayweather and Floyd or Mayweather and McGregor were in. So it's like, Ngannou on power alone will probably hit him just as hard as Deontay Wilder did, and it only takes a solid 1-2 to drop, anybody in the heavyweight division. So I mean, when it comes down to actually like seeing a different outcome or a chance of something happening, that's where I'll give that. I'll add that 0.5. I'll add that 0.5 because I didn't think it happened.
The mystique.
Yes, yes.
I gotta ask this question, right? Does Francis have any shot, and what percentage of a shot do you give him?
Absolutely. I think that like I said, any fighter's not gonna hop into that ring without thinking that they're gonna win the shit. They win it, and that's the beauty thing about the sport is that nobody's. Were you calling Sean Strickland beating Israel Adesanya? No.
It was good. Hey, Adrian, I literally came on here and I said this is going to be Israel Adesanya's Anderson Silva front kick to the face moment.
Oh man, that's
his greatest moment.
That's your Machida moment. That's your Joe Rogan's Machida era moment. Like that's your take right there. But that's what it is, man. That's the beauty of the sport is that at any moment it doesn't add up. Fight at math doesn't add up. You can predict. You can do all the research. You can study as much as you want. Doesn't matter. It's boxing, so it's a little different. But these are heavyweights. These are guys that got power behind their hands, and Ngannou has a chance. If I were to give it a percentage, I think defensively in boxing you can get away with more things than in MMA, but because you're not worried about too much, like leg kicks and all that extra stuff. But at the same time, you could say the same thing for Ngannou. But I would give him a solid 15% chance to win this fight. 15% chance.
He's got a puncher's chance. That's what I'll say.
Puncher's chance. That's my puncher's chance right there. 15%.
I kind of agree with you. It literally, I think everybody's kind of in agreement of what the game plan for Francis Ngannou is.
Hit him hard.
Land the shot. That's it. You got. It's 10 rounds, which I'm kind of pissed about. It's not 12 rounds. There's a lot of mystique around this fight too. A lot of bullshit that went on. Like it wasn't given 12 rounds. It's the championship's not on the line, which is just I don't get it. But if he knocks it, listen, if Francis Ngannou goes out there and knocks out Tyson Fury, does Francis Ngannou get to fight Alexander Usyk in December? No. So that's where I'm like, why just make it a 12-rounder, put the title on the line? Who cares? Like if you're that confident you're gonna fucking win, Fury, 2 extra rounds and putting the title on the line ain't gonna.
Yeah, Mister, I'm the best boxer in the world. I'm the baddest man. I mean, yeah, sure. I get it because, like, you wear everything you work for, and this guy's just coming in. He's not gonna.
Yeah,
sure,
but regardless,
like you said, put your money where your mouth is.
In 10 rounds, 12 rounds, it doesn't matter. You just got flatline on pay-per-view.
Yeah, absolutely. You got.
So I mean, I was listening to Brendan Schaub today. I'm not a big popular person in the
In the
fight
MMA
world
space,
community. Yeah, in the fight world community. But listen, you get what you can. He's a funny guy. Is whatever. But
everybody's
I
got
like
their
Brendan
taste, man.
Schaub. I got a
Everybody's
lot
got
of
the taste. No,
the
no judgment
Brendans
here.
and the Brendans and Brandons got to stick together, right? We got to stick together. But he was saying this: Ngannou has to do to Fury what he did to Rosenstruck. Come
Just
at him like a goddamn banshee. Just
like a.
Because guess what? You're not going to beat him technically. You're not going to outbox Fury. You're not going to beat him by decision. This is not happening. Your only hope is to land that shot. So what the fuck do you got to lose? You want to get boxed up for 10 straight rounds trying to go technical because that's what's going to happen and probably finish in round 6 or 7 when Fury's done toying with you. That's probably what's going to happen if you try that. So what do you got to lose to just go at him at the bell? Ding, ding, ding. Let's get it on. Fucking bum rush this guy and let's see what the fuck happens. Let's see how he retaliates towards that. Because you
Absolutely, definitely controlled chaos.
Tyson, actually, go ahead because I want to look up the reaches for these guys. Go ahead.
I think that yeah, I agree. Controlled chaos is the name of the game. I think that although a dangerous thing to do against any guy like Tyson Fury that's got the counter punching ability and the boxing prowess that he has, that anybody should be worried, just running in on that dude. But Francis is a scary mofo. So it's
this is their reaches. And Tyson is obviously stands at 6'8", 6'9", and Ngannou stands 6'4" ish. Ngannou also said that he's going to be weighing around 270 ish. Tyson has an 85-inch reach. Francis has an 83-inch reach. So listen, it's not that big of a disparity. Aim high.
I could see, like you said, I think that's the name of the game. Pressure. Don't let them get comfortable. Take away the take away the home. Like you're in the ring, so I'm wherever they fight, London, wherever, I don't care.
Oh, it's
you're in a home. Doesn't matter. Your home field advantage for Tyson Fury is my point. Is that he's in the ring. This is where he lives, breathes, and dies. Is in that ring. So it's home field. You got to make him feel like he's not home. You got to take that comfort away from him, pressure him, cut off the cage. And I know that you mentioned the height and reach. I mean, Ngannou is going to be playing to his strength, being aggressive, bring pressure. Then plays to his strength, cut in that distance. I do see that Francis does have his own counter punching ability too. So it's not like this guy's a slouch. It's not like a guy doesn't have zero technique. The guy is going to try to make something happen with what he's got. And I think that we're in for a pretty interesting fight.
Spectacle. It is going to be a spectacle. The entrances are going to be great. The atmosphere is going to be great. Well, the atmosphere, I don't know about that. It's in Saudi Arabia. I really wish it was in London or America. It's just that's really where these big fights happen. But I understand. Listen, the money is the money, and these guys are going to get paid outrageous sums of money, especially Tyson Fury. So, but yeah, I think we both are in agreement. Tyson is going to win, most likely going to win. But what a moment it would be if Francis Ngannou knocks out Tyson Fury. It would be the biggest upset in combat sports history, and be up there in sports history.
Absolutely.
Your name would be forever remembered and engraved in immortality, Francis Ngannou.
And I almost hope that happens, because if it does, no. Let me say this though. I always almost hope that it happens, because I as a boxing fan, I love Tyson Fury. I think that he gets a lot of flack from a couple of boxer fans because he's not the super personality, whatever. But he's a huge man of God and stuff, and that's why I appreciate him. He's got a great story behind him. But I also think that if Francis does find a way to beat them, spin this, just run with it. Run with that fact. And I don't care if it bothers John or doesn't bother John, but get John Jones hyped up, angst up, whatever. He was talking to Fury at one point too, so it's like, oh, I beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the best mofo. Where are you at? Like, I'm crossing promotion. Where are you at? Like I said, apply pressure. I think this would really be good for applying pressure for that Ngannou John Jones fight. That is my tinfoil cap if it does happen.
If he beats Fury, we already know rematch is already going to happen. So that Usman
on the table,
pushed down. Listen, if he beats Fury again, who knows? Maybe that Usyk fight is a real deal for Francis Ngannou. We also know Francis's first fight for MMA is going to be in February or March, I believe is what he said for PFL. We don't know who the opponent is, but yeah, listen. If you win this fight, you get to call out Dana White. You get to call out all of them and say, "Hey, you doubted me.
Y'all
You
talk about the baddest motherfucker, and
Yep.
he's right here.
Yep, I
No.
am him." And listen, this is what a speech it would be, because he could be like, "Hey, Dana, John, offer still available. PFL, March, Francis Ngannou versus John Jones. Co-promotion, UFC versus PFL." Crazier things have happened,
What
Adrian.
are we doing?
Crazier
Hey,
things
what are
have
we doing?
happened. But that is going to wrap up episode 135 of the Wise Guys podcast. We have talked everything from top to bottom. So please give us your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and tell us what you think about the topics we discussed today. Give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you are new, share the content on social media with your friends and family. Tell everybody about us. And click the links in the description. Follow me and Adrian on our social medias. Follow the Wise Guys on their on our social medias, I should say. And interact with us. Tell us what you think about everything that we're talking about here, that I'm going to talk about tomorrow with the basketball world coming up. Miami Heat coming. Adrian's Knicks coming. Can't wait for that first matchup. It's going to be exciting. Football season is right in the middle. We're in the smack dab middle. We're in the Patriots. Let's go, baby. I'm going to be coming back with you guys tomorrow for another basketball episode with Romaine, and then I'll be seeing you guys on Friday with Nick and Q for a football episode. But I've been Brandon Capozziello. That was Adrian Pineres. Almost fucked it up again, but I didn't. And we have been the Wise Guys, and we are out. Laters Gators.